Hello and welcome to the Weekly Drive-In this week with me, Josh Howie, and Corey Jordan as per the usual.
Hello.
Today's review will be on the new film Bridge of Spies by Steven Spielberg, starring Tom Hanks and Mark Rylance, among others. To start off, we've just watched this film, essentially. We've come pretty much straight from the cinema to the studio where we are recording. And this may contain spoilers, not for Bridge of Spies, for another film, but the film's old, so you should have seen it already. To Corey, the ending of Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah.
Where they're on the beach, they're getting back, and it's just like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
When Bridge of Spies ends, and it has it does like the whole writing of what happens in the future. I've like not felt the same way I did until now from that ending. Like, I just felt so much for that from his character, Tom Hanks' character, throughout this film, and to know what happened afterwards, it was just like.
Yeah, the one thing from this film that I took was Mark Rylance.
Oh yeah, he was incredible, wasn't he? Mark Rylance plays Rudolph Abel, they never confirm it, but the Soviet spy on trial, essentially, and he is just incredible. Like, it's so subtle.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's just, he's really mysterious as well. Like, I mean, he's subtle and he's really laid back, but he's really mysterious in the way he acts as well. Yeah. But most of the humour came from him as well. It's just, like, you can't help but like this guy. Yeah, he's just
that running joke where Tom Hanks is like, "You don't look worried," and he's just like, "Would it help?"
Yeah, I love that.
It's so sweet. It's just so good.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I think this film as a whole, like, it may have been a bit too long for my taste, but like, I don't. It's not like a negative, because I was happily sitting through it till the end, but I think there are some bits, like, I'm just being nitpicky really. There are some bits where things are like visual cues are sort of forced upon you, I guess. For example, in the trailer, so this isn't really spoilers, when he's on the train going across the Berlin Wall, he sees some people trying to run past and getting shot, and then like later on he sees the same sort of thing but in a different way, and it's like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah,
you didn't need to show us that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And another thing that annoyed me slightly near the start was like the editing, just because, I mean, we have made films and like it sort of comes across to us quite a lot, and I don't know, just the changes in shots, like sometimes it just wasn't enough. They felt quite jumpy, and
there was
like
a couple of times.
Disorientating.
Yeah, there was a couple of times as well when there was a fade to black, and it just didn't really seem like it needed to be there. Like especially the one where I'm trying not to spoil. I don't know what it can consider a spoiler now. There's one where it's basically a shot of there's a shot of Amy Ryan, and she's just sort of standing there. It's the end of a scene, and then it fades to black. But the fade is really slow, and then it takes a while to like get to the next scene, and you're just a bit like, you could have sped that up a tad.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want this film to feel too dragged out, and little things like that, like, it did get on my nerves. But the thing I will say is, I think people will overlook this film. That's the problem, because people underrate Spielberg. It's hard to explain. They underrate him
because he's
so big, but he's so good. He's made so many films that people class as the best films ever made, that people kind of just overlook his films as though, oh well, a Spielberg film is probably going to be alright.
Exactly.
But I'm not saying this is anywhere near the standard of some of his best films.
Oh no, not at all. But like, it is.
Like, it's no Schindler's List or Saving Private Ryan. But it is a really good story, and it is a really good film, and it's just a good mark on his filmography. And you kind of feel like he can just keep going with these films. And in terms of Oscars, I think Mark Rylance is definitely got to be in with a shout. Even the cinematography is definitely with a shout. Oh yeah,
definitely. I was going to mention that later. Like, some of the shots in this are beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a shot where they use lighting so well in this film. Like there are lots of shots where, say, Tom Hanks will be talking and there will be a spotlight behind him, and it just gives the room or the location so much atmosphere and gravity to whatever's happening. It's just really well done.
Yeah, I agree.
But you won't expect anything less from Spielberg.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He knows what he's doing.
Exactly. And I think, I mean, even Spielberg could be within a shout. Obviously, we don't know the quality of the rest of the films that will be nominated, or even if British Spies will be nominated. I kind of see the thing with Tom Hanks is he's solid. Obviously, like I love him. I think I can watch him non-stop. Like, but I kind of feel like his peak was in the 90s with his acting. And he's one of those people who's more focused on, like, I know he does a lot of producing and he's even directed a film. But I don't know, it was the same with Captain Phillips. Like, he I don't know, he didn't come across as though he had an Oscar-worthy performance. He was just really solid. And I kind of felt that in this film.
He's kind of getting the Jeff Daniels syndrome of, like, just being a really solid actor in solid roles. But, like, there's nothing special about it. It's just... You're going and you're watching a Tom Hanks movie at the core, and you get a Tom Hanks movie, and it's really good. Like his performance is really good.
Yeah.
Like he has some running things. Like a lot of it's down to the writing, to be fair, but like his mannerisms in this are really good. He has, because of his character style, whenever it's like a very like good man, good-hearted sort of thing. So whenever he sort of does something edgy, it hits home. It's really good. Like you really feel the passion behind his character.
Yeah. I thought I'm not slating his performance at all. I genuinely thought he was just really good. But I think really his peak. I don't want to say this because it makes his sound, or makes all of his performances afterwards sound. His best performance is Forrest Gump, I think, But if you compare his performance in British Spies to, say, Michael Fassbender's and Steve Jobs, what Michael Fassbender did, he brought something new, like something unexpected with Steve Jobs, whereas Tom Hanks is just sort of another Tom Hanks performance, which is really, really, again, really, really solid. It was amazing, but it didn't really take me by surprise. I went into the cinema expecting it, and that's exactly what I saw.
Yeah, in terms of Oscars, it's like, why should Tom Hanks get a nomination for this when he hasn't had nominations for other films that were just as good?
Yeah.
Whereas, like you say with Steve Jobs, Michael Fassbender took that to another level. So if he doesn't get nominated, I'll be annoyed. But if Tom Hanks doesn't get nominated for this, then fair enough. But Mark Rylance, very much like I know we said last week when we were talking about the Steve Jobs review, that it's just the start of Oscar season, like what is typically Oscar season. Obviously, I mean, last year you had Grand Budapest that came out way earlier in the year, but you know, and so we don't know who's really going to get nominated at the moment. Obviously, we haven't had the Golden Globes yet, but I think Mark Rylance is the first person that I think really deserves a supporting role nomination. I don't think I've seen a film this year where someone in the supporting cast has like really earned a nomination yet.
Yeah, I loved Mark Rylance in it. I had obviously heard good things before we went into it, and I was expecting him to sort of like surprise me, and he literally did. Like basically straight off the bat, I loved the calm Scottish accent.
Oh yeah,
it's just so laid back.
It's so good.
Obviously I don't know the story very well, but I do now because I watched the film. But I kind of wanted, you know, at the start when the judge says something about like a faking an accent.
Yeah.
I kind of really wanted him to just go into this Soviet accent, and it would just be like spot on. I'd be like, that'd be so perfect.
I was really hoping for it all to be an act.
Yeah.
Like a real act that he just could slip in and out of. Because when we're kind of really introduced to this character when he they break into his house, well, his hotel room or wherever he's staying near the start of the film when they capture him, and it's just such a lovely scene where they break in and they're like, oh, Colonel Abel, or however you pronounce it, or Abel, sorry.
Abel,
and he's just like, oh, do you mind if I just get my teeth and things like that?
Yeah. Do you mind if I clean my palate and stuff like that? Yeah, I love that.
It's just so subtle. And that's another point, though. The start of this film where it's basically him walking, going to the train, well, the subway and things like that, and he's clearly being followed by agents, and it's just such a well-directed scene, opening scene. It really gets you completely immersed in this world before anything's really happened. It's just people walking, essentially, but it's really, really well done.
Yeah, it is really well done. And I didn't think there was really like a performance in the entire film really that like let it down. Maybe the only one I thought was a bit like, was the guy who played Powers.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
His name's Austin Stowell or Stoll. It's spelled Stowell. I recognised him from somewhere, and I've just literally realised it's the guy from Whiplash, the second drummer.
Oh, the ginger lad.
Yeah. It only just clicked when I just went on it. I was like, oh yeah. But yeah, he. I tell you what, the effects of like the plane falling and like it looked really amazing.
It was decent, yeah.
Like I know Spielberg's pretty solid with his effects. Like obviously with like Jurassic Park and like he knows the guy knows what he's doing.
Did it all.
Yeah. And then, but that again, I was just quite taken aback at how good that was. I wasn't expecting that because the kind of film it was, I expected it to just sort of like cut to something and then someone saying what happened, rather than actually literally watching the thing.
I was expecting that too because like there's a lot of. I'll say now, I was never surprised in this film. Like I think. From start to finish, I knew what was going to happen, where it was going, and all that sort of stuff. Nothing. I mean, there were bits here and there, but they weren't like crucial to the plot. It was more just, oh, here's a little twist. But I wasn't quite expecting some of the action scenes to happen, which were a nice surprise, especially in a film that's quite dialogue based and things like that. But yeah, it was just. I think overall, I was just really impressed by this film, and especially the performances throughout. To be honest.
Yeah, I don't think yet, and I don't think it'd make it into the top 5 of the year.
Probably not. No.
But again, I mean, yeah, as negative as it sounds, I just thought this film was still a like really good, solid watch. Like it's a decent thriller, and it's a really good story. And I would recommend it to anyone that is interested in Spielberg, definitely.
Tom Hanks,
yeah, and just generally films of 2015. Like.
Yeah, it's really well paced. I don't know what else to say really. It's very good. Yeah. I highly recommend this if you haven't seen it or like weren't planning on seeing it. I really highly suggest you do. It's quite good these days. Like we're getting a lot of films like this, which are true, like taken from true stories, and really shining a light on it. It's like the same thing with Imitation Game last year, like the whole Alan Turing stuff. I don't know. I feel it so much as a filmmaker that I'd say I've not done anything really, but like filmmakers in general are showing the general public this like things that they didn't know about, and like they can be incredible things. Like this film is an incredible story, and I like no one. Well, obviously people knew about it if they knew about that sort of stuff, but like people our age who didn't grow up with all that sort of thing, we like a lot of us wouldn't know about it, and now we do sort of stuff.
Yeah, and it's done, and obviously the film like media is kind of like it's done in a way that's informative, but at the same time is still entertainment, and that's what Bridge of Spies did really well. If I had to give it a rating, I'd give it a 4-star, I think.
Out of 5.
Yeah, obviously. I'm just going to say that. It's not like out of like 15 stars. As you know, me and Josh watch a lot of films each week, and we're going to tell you instead of going through all the films we've watched, we're just going to tell you our favourite of the week, and if you've seen it, good. If not, we'll definitely recommend it. So Josh, you want to start us off?
Yeah, we just thought we've given you a bit of a review for Bridge of Spies, which is new this week, so we thought we'd give you a quick rundown of one of the films that me and Cory have both, a film I've watched and a film Cory's watched in the past week that we thought we would tell you about and recommend. Um, we actually both bought the film I'm gonna talk about recently when it came out because it's just dropped on DVD. Jake Gyllenhaal in Southpaw, which Corey has not seen.
Okay, I've got it on DVD, but I will watch it.
You better watch it because it's really good. No, this film is it's one of those things where I'm a really big fan of Jake Gyllenhaal, and I think he is really doing well at the moment. Where I don't see Jake Gyllenhaal on screen, I see his characters, and I just think he's a really good actor. The story itself is really strong. I kind of wish they hadn't shown the death of a character in the trailer, because even though it does set up the whole story, I don't know, I got quite attached to that character. But yeah, it's just a really strong film. It's well put together. It's well written. And Forrest Whitaker, who is like supporting in this film, is really good. It's like I'm very into sports films, but I'm not too much into like boxing films. I don't think there's been very many good ones. I mean, like I didn't really like Ali with Will Smith, and I don't think they got the boxing part right. I mean, there are good fighting films like Warrior is one of my favorite films, but I think the like last act of this film is like the big fight that everything's been leading up to, and it's really well put together. It just rounds the film out really well, and I just think that's incredible. And yeah, you should definitely watch it if you haven't seen it already.
Sweet. To be honest, the films I watched this week, I mean, there wasn't really one that I was like taken aback by and was like, oh my god. But I guess the best one I've watched this week is Hollywoodland. It's about George Reeves, who played Superman in The Adventures of Superman in the TV series in the 1950s. And he died a bit under like mysterious circumstances, and basically it's sort of like gone neo-noir on this like tale. So it kind of flashes between a PI trying to work out what's happened to him and just like the story of George Reeves. And basically Adrian Brody plays the PI and he does it really well. And then Ben Affleck plays George Reeves, who actually surprised me how well he did, because I'm not a huge fan of Ben Affleck as an actor. But I think in terms of neo-noir, they got the whole look really well. Like it's really stylish. It like looks really stylish, and they've got all like the set fixed perfectly. And in terms of writing, it's again really good. I mean, it's a bit of an ambiguous ending, but obviously I'm not going to tell you what happens, but unless you already know the story. But yeah, other than the ambiguous ending, it was really enjoyable to watch. Like I love neo-noir as well. I mean, I'm a bit biased towards that. And Adrian Brody I do enjoy as well. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about Adrian Brody in a couple of days when, the year in film is brought up. But I just think overall the film looked amazing and it was acted really well. I mean, it probably won't go down as a neo-noir classic like Blade Runner and LA Confidential, but it's up there. Like it's a good watch, and I think you should really watch it. Like it's a good story as well, like about someone in the industry, and yeah, it's genuinely just a good film to watch. So yeah, that's mine.
Cool, enjoy it. If you like that, like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All the links will be in the description below, and subscribe. That thing that people do these days. Grand, happy, swell.
Thank you.
Goodbye.